Good evening and welcome again to Around Town. I am honored tonight to have with us Bij Das from, I'm going to do it too, the
Boston East
India Hotels, LLC.
That's right.
That's right. There we go. I'm so used to hearing the Groton Inn was finally sold. Did you know that?
That's right. I heard that.
As I put on my Facebook, will wonders never cease? Nobody in this town ever thought that would happen. But anyway, welcome.
Thank you, Jane.
And welcome
so nice to be
welcome
here.
to Groton.
Thank you.
You're from North Andover.
I'm from North Andover, born and brought up in that area. Although born in Burlington, but been living in North Andover for many years.
Wow.
And we're just really excited to be close by to Groton.
You know, I don't know North Andover very well, but I have a couple of friends that live up there, and it's supposedly a lovely place to live.
It's a beautiful place to live. It's got great schools.
Yep.
We have Brooks and Phillips Academy
Yep.
next door. I went to Pike before then.
Yep.
And I've really enjoyed growing up in that area.
That's great.
I've traveled a lot since then.
Yep.
And coming back to the area, I just realized how fortunate I am that my parents chose it.
Good for you.
It's a place to grow up.
Why do you have two hotels in India? I'm fascinated.
Well, you know, I started my career in hotels with Hilton as the co-head for development on the Asian subcontinent.
Wow.
So from that,
did Paris hang out there? I always want to know. Did she stay at those hotels? Anyway, never mind.
Paris did actually go to India to visit Hilton, or at least one of the Hilton openings.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that she's. Yes. Anyway, go ahead.
But so our company really started. Well, it started in Boston, but we developed our brand over about 2 years at one of our properties there, and the concept is really Western hospitality, which is the Hilton bit,
right?
With, or I should say, Eastern hospitality and warmth with Western process.
Excellent.
So you can, in the East, it's very warm. People are very friendly.
Yeah.
But in the West, people get it right often. So there's kind of procedure and there's process. We kind of want to bring them together, and hopefully we can do that back
Wonderful.
now in the U.S.
And we should say that your corporation has purchased the Stonehedge Inn and Spa.
That's
Spa and Inn.
That's right. That's right. And after almost 30 years, it's changed hands again. And we're really fortunate. There's so many, on Facebook, I've been seeing the number of people who've gotten married there, or have had special events there, the dignitaries that have visited or spent some time there. And I know it's a very important institution to the area, and we want to kind of enhance that.
We want to move you into Groton now because I think there's always been a little bit of a separation there, but people know about you. But I was telling John, I think it is, that it's like Groton School. There's always that stone wall, up there, and people are kind of afraid to go in. And I think you're going to change that.
I've heard rumors that there are wheels on the Stonehenge, so we should be able to actually just. No, but yeah, we'd like that. I think we'd like to have a stronger relationship with the community. Stonehenge has always been a hotel where people from the broader region and around the world come.
Yep.
It hasn't necessarily, from my understanding of the history and what I've seen, been a place where a lot of locals come and gather all the time. I mean, there are special occasions. We'd like it to be an interesting meeting spot. So on a random Tuesday night, if you want a sophisticated conversation with friends, that's a place where other sophisticated conversations are happening with other friends. So I think that would be nice, and we'd love to really enhance that appeal within this community.
You're also doing a jazz brunch on Sundays?
We have started a jazz brunch. It's fabulous. I've attended once. We inaugurated it with the Gypsy King family. That was a couple of weeks ago, and it was a great event. And we're going to do live music probably once or twice a week. I've found it always fascinating when you're at an event and someone's actually working to produce music. It warms my heart because it's not recorded. It's as very much like here. It's a live event.
Absolutely.
Somebody's working hard to produce an enhancement, cultural enhancement. That's what we view music as.
I grew up in New York City, and I was part of that sort of late 60s, early 70s young cafe society group that would go to places like the Carlisle and all of those places where there was piano, Bobby Short and all of that kind of thing. I miss that so much. I can't tell you. Just even background piano music to me is just fantastic.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
You had a piano player, didn't you, at Stonehedge?
We did and we do.
Okay.
For special occasions, for events, occasionally for dinners on Friday. We have a beautiful piano that it will be active.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
That's fantastic. Did you, when you got into the hotel business, was this something you ever thought about, or you just sort of fell into that job?
You know, when I started my career as a lawyer in Boston, so I clerked for a federal judge and then worked for a couple of Boston firms. Never thought I'd be in hotels. It was probably my father that, growing up, we'd get guests from around the world.
What kind of business was your father?
He's a structural engineer, so he does a lot of work for big companies like Boeing. He just retired from Bechtel.
Wow.
And does a lot of consulting around the world. And he has a lot of friends. Some of his best friends are from Germany. He lived there before he moved to the U.S.
Interesting.
And we had friends from all over the world. And so that was, I think, my first exposure to hospitality. And as a lawyer, I started doing hotel transactions. And I realized that, my role as a lawyer didn't let me do the things I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
By the time I could give the advice that I wanted to give, people had already made those decisions.
Interesting.
So I switched over into hospitality, and again, this is beyond my wildest dream that we have 2 hotels in New England now. We're growing. That are we have a business that employs a lot of people from around the world in North Andover, as well as in Tingsboro, as well as in Brunswick, Maine.
The Daniel?
The Daniel in it's a building that's over 200 years old,
Yeah.
Or at least part of the building is, and it's steps from Bowdoin College.
Oh yeah.
And the same concept for us, which is make it an interesting place to have a good meal, great conversation with good, interesting people.
That's fantastic. My uncle in Boston, who's no longer with us, was an attorney, and he bought the airport hotel when it was a little hotel, in years and years and years when I was a little girl, 100 years ago.
Wow.
And then he sold it to Hilton many years later. I think it was Hilton, but it was the same kind of thing. He wanted more in the hospitality business, so I see such a similarity. It's amazing.
There's been so much development in that area, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
What kind of name is Bij Das?
Well, it's short for Abhijit.
Okay.
And Abhijit is a Bengali name. That's the American pronunciation of the name. It's actually pronounced Obhijit in Bengali. And so yes, it's a Bengali name, and it means victorious, from what I've been told.
Oh, very nice.
I hope it's true.
Seems like it's true. It seems like that's appropriate.
Well, the jury's still out, but
who's from Bengali?
So my parents are both from Bengal, and but they speak Bengali.
Yeah. You are a gorgeous guy, I gotta tell you.
Thank you.
Margaret's over there, she's gonna fall off the chair that I said that. But I mean, you are just such an interesting looking man.
Well, that's very sweet
Don't
of you
you
to
think,
say.
am I right?
I didn't even know.
No. You just are a very, very interesting guy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And the name goes with it.
If I ever need a dating profile,
yes, I will set up a little
I'll
thing.
ask for.
Yeah.
No, but my parents moved here both to do their PhDs, and they went to UMass Amherst. And from what I understand, that was where I was,
Victoriously.
My roots date back to Amherst, Massachusetts.
That's a great school. My daughter went there, and I think it's a wonderful school. All the UMass campuses are terrific.
That's right. That's right. One of the reasons we bought in Tingsboro is my mom has been a professor there for 42 years.
Amazing.
So right down Pawtucket Boulevard and a little bit over into South Campus is where I used to run around as a kid in her office. And the love for this area that I have, I think, is enhanced by the fact that Mom has been there for so long.
Isn't that wonderful? That's great. She's going to stay there forever?
I hope so. I think, as professors, like a fine wine, professors get better with age.
Absolutely.
They get bolder, richer.
Yeah.
Intellectually, emotionally, and socially. I think the next couple of years of her life at the university will be her best. And it's just so exciting to be right down the road from, once in a while I'll call Mom and say, Mom, what are you doing for lunch today? I'm visiting Stonehenge.
Very nice.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Has she been to Stonehenge? She must be.
She loves it. She loves the property. She loves what we're doing with it. And she's an investor in the property, which is great. My parents decided, they sent me a nice note saying, "Son, we support you." And
isn't that wonderful?
That was great. It just, having great parents is such a blessing. So
that's true. How many investors are there in the business?
In the business, there are, probably less than a dozen in all of our properties. We have friends and family investors in the core business that's now going to grow. But it's really non-institutional friends and community. We're very much driven by the community, and that's why I was so excited to come on your show.
That's great. That's wonderful.
It's a community-driven company.
If people want to have an event, can they? Jim Heineman, is he the person?
Yep. Jim Heineman is our director of operations. He's based out of the Stonehedge now, and Jim, they can reach out to me. I'm happy to coordinate, but we've got a great team, and our the Stonehenge site has not changed, so it's StonehengeInnAndSpa.com. BostonEastIndia.com is also a website that they can reach out to us on. But we're out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram,
Absolutely.
So nowadays it's so much easier.
That's wonderful.
To reach out.
I want to say thank you to Luke Olson, who is a Groton resident, a young man, and who went to, his dad is at Lawrence Academy, and he's the one that hooked me up with you guys.
That's right. Luke is fabulous. He's been there a couple of years, I want to say, and he does a lot for us, and he does a lot of the social media stuff we do, and he's a great guy.
And he's an equestrian, from what I understand.
That is what I understand as well. Yeah, and which is perfect because Stonehenge, we have some horses there. Although
I didn't know that.
I don't believe he rides any of them, but yeah, he's really wonderful, and hopefully he'll help spearhead our outreach to the Groton community.
He's doing a good job so far.
I know. That's right.
So, it's been a real pleasure to have you here. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you very much, Jane. I really appreciate your time.
And we'll get a ton of people over to you.
Yeah, we'll look forward to having a Groton night at some point.
Excellent. That's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Buzz. So much. Yeah. So great to meet you. Bij. I love this name. Tell me one more time how you pronounce it in Bengali.
Obijit.
Obijit. Okay. Remember that.
Thanks
again. In just a